The name of the show is the Road to Net Zero with Khaleej Times. Your Excellency Hussein, Ambassador of Indonesia, thank you for hosting us over here. Can we please speak about climate change in general? Everything that has to do with climate change, the miles that Indonesia have implemented so far in terms of climate mitigation.
Okay, thank you for Khaleej Time and team. Of course, talking about the climate change, Indonesia is G20 countries, right?
Yes.
And then, of course, we try. I mean, Indonesian parties try to focus how to follow all the regulation regarding climate change, but of course, not so easy. Like in my country, you can imagine Indonesia is everywhere you can forestry.
Of
so
course.
During the hot fire everywhere
Mm-hmm.
in Indonesia, and then the other side also because of the climate change, everywhere problem in my country. We don't have water here. We don't have water here. All the problem about food. Therefore, Indonesia always commit in UN, in Paris, everywhere there will be talking about the environment. Indonesia very concerned about how the country, mostly developed countries, who commit with all the regulation for decarbonate like this.
For decarbonization.
Because as we know, until today, more all the developed countries commitment to provide budget $100 billion, but how to say it's not so easy lah. Therefore, I do hope that Sultan Jaber here in Abu Dhabi will talk during the COP28 in Dubai how they can push all the developed countries about the $100 billion. Very important to support the developing and undeveloped countries.
Yes, yes. This is a very huge challenge to everyone to ensure that countries are actually committed to the pledges for climate change. Your Excellency, there is a new measures in terms of what the private sector can do. The ESG is one of the major measures, environmental social governance, that was previously, spoken to or perhaps explained through the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
Do you see commitment from the private sector with ESGs, and do you see that the ESG is perhaps one milestone in terms of ensuring that the private sector is also on board of climate mitigation?
Yes, of course. For Indonesian companies, mostly they concern about this.
Mm-hmm.
Indonesian companies, I mean not small companies, of course, big companies in my country. They concern about how to participate in the climate change program. So now the ways how they can contribute. This is more important to know.
The contribution.
Yeah.
The contribution.
Yeah, like for example, in my country, how to say, we have many companies now in my country try to selling the carbon.
Yes, carbon credits.
Carbon credit, yes.
Yes.
But of course, it will take time to selling this product also.
Absolutely.
Therefore, we try to all people in my country, if you like to deal with this carbon initiative, of course, you may come also to Abu Dhabi, to Dubai. I say like this.
There is major, agreements between the UAE and Indonesia, one of which is with regards to renewable through, I think, Masdar or Taqa. Can you please elaborate a little bit more on, these, let's say, these agreements, these commitments between both countries? What are we hoping for, in terms of a result and outcome?
Regarding the climate change for Masdar, of course, we have done with my country small project with Masdar, with this solar company, solar business in my country. They use lake, lake?
Yes, the lake.
Lake, not so big for time being, around 140 megawatt. But because of new regulation in my country, they can expand 20% to use the lake to become around 400 or 500 megawatt. This is number one. Number two, Masdar also take share in Indonesia, one big company for geothermal. We call
Geothermal.
it Petra Pertamina Geothermal Companies.
Mhm.
And Masdar joined this project also for $350 million. Of course, Masdar very concerned about the project, and he interested also now how to get 10 gigawatt from my country, Masdar.
Do you think this will resolve, the renewable or the energy problem that might happen down the road?
Not yet,
Not yet.
because as you're talking about energy in my country, mostly the problem in Indonesia, 60% of the energy using coal.
Okay.
This is the big problem.
But you have an aim by 2040 to try to reduce that number
yeah,
of using coal.
Therefore, now how to try to substitute the coal to become and your
Renewable.
renewable using geothermal or wind or whatever lah. At least gas or nuclear later
Or
on.
nuclear.
But the problem 60 quite big in my country, and then we have 17,000 islands. So you can imagine how we can develop the
Infrastructure.
Yeah, this is the concern in my country now. Therefore, President Joko Widodo, my president, has planned how to reduce step by step. Maybe 1 year, how many megawatt? 1 year, how many like this? They have planned like this.
There is a roadmap in
Yes.
terms of reduction.
Yeah, we do hope that 2040, inshallah, Indonesia
Inshallah.
become better. You know, you can imagine my family nowadays always has problem about the how to say the coach because of the pollution in Jakarta.
The health.
Pollution because pollution not so good in Jakarta. Therefore, I said to my family, if for time being, please come to Abu Dhabi for 1 month rest here. It's better because of this pollution in my country.
So what's the carbon footprint, Your Excellency? Is Indonesia playing a very huge role in terms of its carbon footprint in comparison to, let's say, the developed countries, the United States and whatnot?
In Indonesia, of course, also we are not like United States or Europe, but Indonesia very committed with all their plan. This is the difference between Indonesia and other countries. We are very commitment with our plan.
You have your commitment.
Yeah.
And you're very committed for it.
You're right. Let's say, for example, with Abu Dhabi now, we try also to develop mangrove project.
Yes.
Of course, this is belong to environment also.
Absolutely.
But for Indonesia, more real lah. What we discuss, we will execute directly.
So nothing. It's not only written on paper. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. As they say, just a pledge by talking. Yeah. It's more or less even in terms of execution. Your Excellency, this is a very nice thing to speak about in terms of, both our nations, the United Arab Emirates, Indonesia as well. They're actually ensuring the implementation of this for the people. They're ensuring the implementation of and their commitments to decarbonization and the climate for the world as well. Do you think under any kind of circumstance, the models of our commitment can actually be emulated with other countries around the world? Some more or less, there is some countries that normally they would say that they have issues with financing. Do you think that is an issue if there is the commitment?
No, I think not only all belong to finance. Commitment first is more important. Of course, money, our finance, we can collect from everywhere, from bank.
Yes,
so commitment to be practice is more important than talking.
Okay.
This is what I hear from newspaper here how the Sultan Jabir would like to push all the developed countries to provide $100 billion soon in order to develop all the environment, not only in developed countries, but also in developing countries like Africa and so on.
But it's a transfer of also knowledge, it's a transfer of wealth, it's a transfer of know-how. However, there is a lot of countries that would say, in general, that, the taxpayers wouldn't want to actually invest in renewable energy, saying that they play a minimal role in terms of their carbon footprint in the world, and therefore, they might more or less the country might pledge, the government might pledge,
Yeah.
if it is an elected government.
Yeah.
You know, however,
Yeah.
down the road, different candidates might come. They might actually hear out the people, the taxpayers, and you know they might not even push forward. Do you think this is something that should be discussed at you know in COP during COP 28?
Of course, they have to discuss everything regarding what your idea like this.
Yes.
One thing that we should inform you also, Jakarta. Jakarta, one of the capital city in the world who has big pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, not only pollution, but we have so many people stay in Jakarta, around 14 million people in the day, but in the evening, of course, less. Therefore, Malaysia now has planned to move this capital city to jungle, to forest area. So you can imagine Indonesia has a plan, not only talking, but they would like to move his capital from Jakarta to the forest. So in the forest later on, you cannot use your car with gas or with petrol, but use all electricity.
You'll ensure the preservation of the environment through you know decarbonization.
Yeah. So we are starting now.
Excellent, excellent.
This is Indonesia, how they can show to the world that this is our plan.
But Your Excellency, you know, you just highlighted a very important element. You know, you acknowledge the problem of pollution, and by acknowledging it, you know, you were able to take the first step in terms of making sure that, you know, we're doing something about it. And this is what you're doing by moving your capital.
Yeah.
You have your system, your model, and everything. What would you like to see in terms of an outcome from COP28? What is the aspirations?
Of course, from Indonesian side, of course, we do hope that after COP28 in Dubai,
yes,
one of the commitment is we agreed to provide budget, to all the finance not only for developing countries but also for undeveloping countries.
Underdeveloped countries. Yes.
Is more important. Number two, of course, we have to be commitment. Let's say America should use like this, Europe should like this, Middle East should like this, and ASEAN should like this. If all commitment, inshallah, everything will be okay.
Inshallah.
This is my dream.
Likewise. Likewise.
Not only you, because we have my granddaughter and
grandchildren.
Yeah, have problem in Jakarta now. Sometimes 1 week, coach, 1 week, musma'ula. How come you say like this? Every week my family has problem because of the pollution.
Of the pollution.
But inshallah.
Inshallah, Your Excellency, there is this mentality more or less that has been created in terms of, you know, there is an economic crisis. We're on the verge of an economic crisis globally. Do you think this might, you know, reduce or, you know, do you think this might shorten the timeline for people to pledge or to commit to the climate change? Or do you think this will actually increase that timeline? You know, we have 2040 ahead. We have inflation that is happening, huge inflation in the United States. The interest rates are huge. You know, you think more or less these companies, these economies will be committed during such crisis?
Yeah, for Indonesia, of course, alhamdulillah, our economic growth mostly around 5%. It's okay, right? This is number one. Number two, of course, regarding the developed countries like US and Europe countries, of course, more economics say that inshallah 2 years later become better everything.
Inshallah.
So don't worry.
Okay.
So we have optimistic people.
We are very optimistic. Yeah. Yes, of course, of course. You know, sometimes we draw our aspirations or we draw our objectives and goals, and then things come out of the blue. But Your Excellency, what do you think of Abu Dhabi committing or Abu Dhabi's commitments towards sustainability? And they started maybe in 2008, and you know, it's becoming a forerunner. It's trying as much as possible to emphasize the importance of sustainability. You think, you know, the UAE in general is among the top committers to climate change.
One thing that you should consider about when the COP in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh, or in UK, right? The leader, the president, coming to this event not as big as Dubai. This number one. So you can imagine how the influence of Abu Dhabi if they would like to invite people to come.
Of course.
More important like this. Like my president also, firstly commitment to come to Abu Dhabi to save COP28.
And this ensures that there will be a huge commitment in this COP28.
Yeah, because mostly a leader coming.
Of course, of course, of course. You're absolutely right.
Inshallah, I'm sure that whatever Abu Dhabi said, many countries in the world will okay.
What do you think of UAE's leadership's vision and commitment?
Many countries like Indonesia will try to study more in Emirat Arab now. How they become like this today.
So it's a successful model.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
About tolerance, about the economic, everything. Because we should study in Abu Dhabi or Dubai.
Of course, of course.
Like yesterday, I met with the Muhammad Ahmadi, the CEO of ANEC, Abu Dhabi Nuclear Energy Corporation. We discussed about nuclear, of course, regarding environment also, how to use nuclear for the future in my country.
And do you think this will start, resolving the pollution problems?
At least we can reduce the pollution by using nuclear. Because like in Abu Dhabi nowadays, 90% using nuclear, and soon after one reactor running well, 25% energy from nuclear in Barakah.
In Barakah, yes.
Inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. Any other final words, Your Excellency?
One thing that we have to inform you, the Indonesian relationship with Emirat Arab, not only in economic relation. Economic relation are running well, like trading, like investment, like tourism, okay, no problem. Become better from time to time. But also we have to try to make operation beyond this. What we call it, we have already sending imam to Emirat Arab. Today we have Indonesian imam in the masjid in Emirat Arab around 70.
MashaAllah.
Next month 42. Our target next year 200 imam will get job in all masjid in Emirat Arab.
So it's it's a social commitment, it's a religious commitment, it's economic commitment, people-to-people commitment, leadership commitment.
Yeah.
This is, I would say this is among the most strategic relationships that our country has.
Therefore, after become imam here, of course, when the imam return back to my country, they can teach, they can inform all people in this area. This is how Islam in Abu Dhabi like this.
Absolutely.
More important for me, not only talking about business, but how beyond business now.
Beyond business.
Yeah.
Of course.
This is my job. Therefore, I stay here now almost 8 years.
I was speaking to your crew, and I told them you have a very successful ambassador.
And I was in Dubai 4 years, so 12 years.
Excellent.
Alhamdulillah, I'm happy in Abu Dhabi.
We're happy.
My second home.
We're happy that you're here, Your Excellency.
Alhamdulillah.
Shukran. Thank you. Thank you for being a wonderful host. Thank you for speaking very frankly about the way moving forward towards net zero. Thank you about highlighting everything. Thank you, Your Excellency, for being part of the road to net zero with Khaleej Times. Thank you.